churros are that churro was
It was so good. I ate the whole thing.
yeah, me too.
Don't make them throw it away.
Yeah, no, yeah, they have to keep the churros.
Yeah, for the kids.
It looks like we're live, George, correct? Okay. Let me know. I'll wait. Just one more moment, everyone. Thank you. Oh.
Rugsies.
Good. Okay, everyone. Good morning. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Agenda. Pine Mountain Club Property Owners Association, Inc., Board of Directors, regular meeting, Saturday, February 21st, 2026, 10 a.m. in the Condor Room. Members are free to speak on a specific agenda item when the board chair calls for discussion on that item. If you would like to bring up a topic that is not listed on today's agenda, the appropriate time to do so is during the members' open forum. This meeting is being recorded to provide access to members and to aid the recording secretary in preparing the minutes. To ensure a respectful and constructive environment for everyone, we kindly ask that all comments be shared in a courteous manner and remain free of personal, argumentative, and disruptive remarks or gestures. Thank you for helping us maintain a positive and inclusive space for community dialogue. Call to order. Joshua Armin. Mark Bailey.
Yeah,
Madison Bodorf, that's me. Sean Coulter.
here.
Nicole Gates.
Here.
Randall Gates.
Here.
Andrea Schoening.
Yes.
And Douglas Wild.
Oh,
I heard him say it.
okay. Is he muted?
He did.
Unmute yourself, Doug.
You're still muted, Doug. There we go.
Hey, okay. All right. Adopt the agenda. Resolve that the agenda for the Board of Directors meeting February 21st, 2026 be adopted.
Second.
Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the draft minutes of the Board of Directors regular open board meeting of January 17th, 2026, the special executive board meeting January 21st, 2026, and the edited minutes from December 20th, 2025.
Second.
Josh, I need you.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's
All
on
those-
the-
All in favor?
All right. To note, all PMC POA governing documents affected by approved resolutions and motions in these minutes have been updated to reflect the approved changes. Consent agenda. Consent agenda opportunity for public comment. All items listed. Okay. All items listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the board wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone in the audience, the item may be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity of any member to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. You want to lump it all together? Okay. So, can I get a second?
Second.
Discussion on,
Committee application.
all those in favor? Thank you.
All right, officers' reports, chair's report.
Good morning, everyone. We have a full house today. And to everyone online as well. I hope everyone has been enjoying the snow. I know I have. This past month, I've been working very hard to get caught up and brought up to speed as the new board chair. I hope to fulfill this very important role to my best ability and in service to the community, and I'm honored to be in this position. You will notice a new agenda format today in which each resolution is immediately followed by supporting documentation rather than being included as attachments at the end. So this past month, the entire board met with senior management to review the scope and planning for upcoming work on the clubhouse, beginning with critical needs related to the roof and exterior of the building. Although we are keenly aware that the carpet is long overdue for replacement in the Condor room and lounge, I need to point out that the interior work and anything done as flooring in the Condor room will need to follow completion of the roof so that new materials are not exposed to potential leaks or disruption. So I know we're all waiting for that big change, and it will come. I met with the general manager and senior operations manager this month to get an update on our community-wide fire mitigation efforts, and I will let James keep the members up to date on this, but I'm very pleased with the progress that's been made, and I look forward to continued updates as we move through the grant and implementation process we have set. In other good news, we are getting close to the rollout of our new website, which is slated to be live by the end of March. Staff has worked incredibly hard to create a website that is helpful and informative, but will also be more intuitive, more enjoyable to use, and will have an improved user experience overall. In addition, I know many members are awaiting the new seasonal Condor newsletter. We did hope to have the first edition available for spring, but we needed to first ensure the website was fully functional. So at this point, the inaugural season edition will be active, hopefully, and available for the summer season. For those of you who are not aware of the change, it's going to cover 3 months at a time. And I know that it will take a little bit getting used to, but I do believe there will be a positive change overall, and I do think it will have many benefits for our members. I want to remind everyone that the 2026 annual election process for board candidates has begun and will remain open through Thursday, March 26. Please contact the office if you need any additional information. Thank you very much. We will now.
All right, general manager's report.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's a big crowd. This is the biggest crowd all year that I've seen. Thank you. It's great to have you join us in person. I got a few updates. I got about 4 months until I complete this first year. Administrative updates. Our February employee of the month is Richard Weisman. And I got a few things from his manager, Lori. Good job, Dick, out there. In quote, Dick is truly the definition of dedication and reliability. He has worked for the association for 6 years, has never phoned in sick, never late, always stays busy. He also volunteers to cover shifts so others can spend time with their families. In quote, if cloning was an improved project, he'd be an A2 priority in my book. End quote, by Lori Harmon. So good job, Dick. And, we continue to recognize employees monthly. And I think it's a great program that we've started. It's great stuff. Okay, next, update. Radio Safety Network. I just wanted to mention that in light of the storm that we just had. RSN, the PMC network, has grown to nearly 340 mobile radio users in our community. Huge thanks to RSN creator James Douglas. Wish you were here, James, for his continual support to the community and the association and the emergency preparedness and CERT team members. I see several. Thank you, folks, for their continual, effort to recruit and to promote and assist members in becoming an asset for the community. Huge asset. Monday morning, about 10:30, as I'm waiting for a ride to get picked up by our plow team, I jumped in the plow truck. I just immediately got on the radio, got on text with the emergency preparedness, CERT, the RSN folks, the chatter on the radio, all the updates on the radio. What they do day and night during these incidences is amazing. They are constantly requesting updates and getting status, situational awareness everywhere in the community, roads, trees, any member issues, members that needed access. So, we've been working very well together. We're going to continue to do that. Next week or in the next coming weeks, we'll get together with the public safety team members and do an after action review to determine what we can do better. We'll walk through exactly what we did on a daily, but for 3 days I rode along with the snowplow drivers, and wow, I've never seen all the roads here. I mean, the roads are treacherous up top. I mean, the folks that live up there, you guys know, folks know. But I mean, just 24/7 plowing day and night. And I'm glad I rode along. I really, it was a great job, maintenance team. Their continued, synchronization between day and night, making sure equipment, after each iteration of day and night, they're checking equipment, they're checking the cross links on the snow, on the snow chains, making sure we're fueled up, keeping very cognizant of the plow blades. The plows are extremely expensive. So there's an attachment that goes on the bottom of the blades, and that has to be managed. As soon as that starts getting, 1.5 inches or so, it's got to be looked at. It's got to be changed out. You can't damage that plow. I mean, that's an $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 plow. So, great job to the team. And thank you for, your cooperation as members, keeping the roads accessible for us to plow them. I know it's difficult, as you're trying to get your vehicles out to clear your berms, your driveways. We did have, vehicles that got stuck on the roads by doing that. But we were able to move some vehicles out. By noon, CHP was asking for assistance because there was about a dozen vehicles stuck on the S-curves. So we ran through to the Y, and we got a couple vehicles. We assisted a couple vehicles. As soon as we went to the end of the Y and came back, CHPs were able to come through with the tow trucks to get those vehicles removed. So within a few hours, Milpatero was clear, at least for our sake. It still remains closed, and I'll work with the CHP coordinators to ensure that what I'm hearing is on the log, they told me on the log they were going to leave it closed, but inadvertently that caused some issues. I think we failed to get some service, maybe UPS or something, because they were checking the road status. So I'll work with them and see if something could be crafted to for that not to be an obstacle for us. As far as operations, I got to put out another cost savings update. George, please hit it.
Getting there.
Okay, that's okay. There.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
Forgot how that went.
Keep it going, keep it going.
Okay. Just trying to have a little fun here, but it's good. Another, it's great news. There's not a day or two that we're not discussing what we can improve, where we can save. We always want to make sure we maintain the service or that department's level of activity. But as an ongoing effort to improve costs constantly, we began comparing the cost of our payroll vendor. We have Paychex. But we're going with the competitor. I don't want to steal any thunder from the treasurer, but I got to say this. We worked out a deal. The first 3 years, we're going to save $39,000 and then $4,000 annually thereafter. So, and it's very robust. It's got way better options and better benefits for the employees. So, I mean, it was a really good. Randall's going to go through the details on the resolution, but just wanted to put that out there. So, okay. Quick update on the Timco street sweeper. I haven't forgotten about that. It's weighing heavy on my mind. I got a buyback offer from the folks that sold it to us. And they're at 160,000. If the numbers are ingrained in my head, I think it was 220 less tax purchase. Oh, a little bit higher. Yeah. Okay. So I know it was 240 out the door. So, but 160 isn't anything I would consider. I mean, unless the board would want me to consider it or the membership. I think now with a buyback that's not adequate. We are left, I think, with a couple actions that I need to do. I am talking to Davenport Street Sweeping Services. They're the Kern County contracted element for Milpatero. Trying to meet with the owner. He's open to quoting us on areas that we would need done every time they come out here. So I think that's one option that we need to look at as we continue to look at what we can do with the sweeper. Outside of that, the other option would be if they're not coming out to service Milpatero, that we have a local element hit all our trouble spots and clear those out in lieu of having a street sweeper. It still doesn't make sense. It has a defect. Our only last option that I can see is contacting lawyers, which I'm already doing. So contacting lawyers, I don't know how that's going to end, but I think we're at the point where we have a defective item and we need to be made whole again. So that's where I'm at. I'll keep you posted. I've got referrals from LA County Bar Association. I'm going to hit up Bakersfield and get some more referrals. I have a few calls in, but I'll be focusing on that pretty heavy in the next few weeks, just to get to a point to know whether we have an action. If it's actionable, then we look at the cost, and then we see how we do. Don't have a lot more this month. I mean, the storm was my focus all week. I will answer all the members that emailed. Thank you for your feedback. We had a couple issues that we resolved, but many, over a couple dozen members have emailed, you know, with their appreciation. I will respond to each and every one of you out there. Thank you for giving me feedback. We will take all your feedback and we will improve. Lastly, public safety update. Just a thanks again to the CHP commander and his team. They did a great job for us Monday. Monday was really, quick action needed to happen. I think on our end, as far as the community, our radio net, everything was really, communication was very well, very good, very effective. My only means with the CHP, I was calling their dispatch, so I was getting calls from them, calling them, so it worked out okay. I would rather have them on radio, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do to improve that side of it, because that third-party outside support is where we really need to connect in the event that it had gotten worse. We were already in the next steps to reach out to third-party graders, loaders. We have some contacts that we reached out to see if we could lay them on, just in case. I think in retrospect, I would probably have done that probably a few weeks prior. So it was, kind of my first winter storm rodeo. I learned a lot from it. I get it. I mean, we just have to be communicating with the community, and we have to take any issues, and we have to direct those immediately. So we have the resources. We just have to communicate, continue to do that. If you don't have an RSN radio, I highly recommend it. All the information is broadcast on there. They're doing a great job. CERT is really managing the flow of the information, and they flow it up to me. So we work together to control the resources, and that's what it's all about. And that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, treasurer's report.
Good morning. On your agenda that was picked up from the receptionist, the last 2 pages are something that George will be putting up there that you probably won't be able to read, but that's okay. It should be attached, and a lot of it. First off, I just want to cover something that I think was misunderstood last session, is on this whole IRS audit. We didn't lose a nonprofit status. We were just using the wrong one. And it's very important to be doing things with the right internal revenue code so they don't surprise you. So again, we haven't lost nonprofit. We've been left with 2 very viable options that are very similar to what we've always been using. With the exception, one of them, we would pay more tax on investment income because it's a not-for-profit, regardless of which internal revenue code we file under. We're generally taxable on investment income. However, we are looking at a more challenging one, but we're optimistic where we could have possibly no tax on investment income, which would be a major savings annually going forward. So, but again, we haven't lost a nonprofit status. We're just shifting to the one we should be on. And the 2 options are both viable. One's just better. Instead of the full treasurer's report, which I think George had up a second ago, I thought this might be easier because all of you know there's many lines and many categories and many numbers on the treasurer's report. And basically what I've done here is just start out with those departments that are already doing better than budget. So for January, we're better than budget, basically 35,000. Year to date, 300,000. Can you hear me? And then the few items below are basically what is detracting from that better than budget. A few things that are interest income. As you can see, the budget was overstated. I mean, there's no other way around it. So we're coming under the numbers. We have not yet kicked in the additional investments that'll give us a little more return, even though that should be hopefully by the end of the month, that'll be in place. Patrols, minor item. Environmental, $333. We'll let that go. Refuse and recycling, 12,000 year to date. Again, you make a budget and then reality shows up, increased rates. Food and beverage, that's been an ongoing issue with beverage sales, and it's being looked at along with everything else. And foreclosed lots, which are not a budget item because you can't really anticipate when that will close and when you have to put them in as a asset available for sale. So I'm hoping this is a little easier to track than all the numbers and categories on the original treasurer's report, but all that information is there and will be available. And so basically for the month of January, 7 months into a fiscal year, we're pretty much 20,000 better than budget for January and 254,000 better than budget for the year. So James and George have been diligently doing zero-based budget with every departmental manager, line by line, item by item, and I think it's already having an effect, even though a lot of that works for next year's. Next year, it's having a big influence on really compliance and keeping things under budget this year. And, okay, the second half, the financial position. Operating cash, 1.4 million, January 31st, and 5.2 million in reserves. Again, reserves aren't a savings account, a rainy day fund. They're very specific items, specific components, and we have basically 5 million to take care of things that are either worn out or in the process of wearing out, so I believe we're in good shape. And assessment receivables as of January 31st, we still have 340,000 uncollected, 5.9%. Last year at this time was 68,000 less. So again, economy and everything else, we're not seeing the collections quite as timely as one would like. General update. Town hall, we were going to try to do a Q&A for financial information. Like when you look at this and go, what is it? Why is it? And it needs more time than we can do in this meeting. We were trying to set up a town hall where we could basically have time to have more thorough response. That didn't happen. With the former Chair Bennett's town hall in December, we kind of lost the spots, and now it really is winter. Snow on the ground and everything. So we're not going to, I don't know when we're going to be able to fit it in because we have a lot on the agenda. We have the budget, we have finishing the reserve study, we have a special meeting just for the budget in March for the members, an open session to go through all the details and ask questions. So it's like a miniature town hall. One thing I wanted to address, I did have one inquiry on the audit report that I thought was relevant for everyone to understand, and hopefully you and the audience can see that. This is the infamous chart on the 700,000 that was phase 3 through 6 planning. It's discontinued. I believe everyone's aware of that one. As you can see, 245,000 of that 700, I'm rounding here, came from operating funds, basically budget surpluses. Another 450,000 came out of reserves. And unlike the pool or the post office where we have something tangible to show for that effort, there's really not much to show for that effort other than what we learned and what we need to pay more attention to. And the reason for putting this up here, I want to just highlight, provide some assurance that this is not going to recur. The members kindly ratified last June the amendment to bylaw 1010, which was our carry forward bylaw, which in the past, if we had a surplus, there were various options where it may or may not have gone. And at this point with the amendment, there is no option. If there is a budget surplus, it goes right back into the next year's assessment to credit what the members have to fund, period. If someone wants extra money, they have to ask for it. probably do a special assessment with greater transparency and disclosure. So the first column on that table, operating funds cannot be used for planning for a capital expansion, period, unless it's done pursuant to a plan and discussed in open session and approved. Same thing with the reserves, and I didn't mind former Director of Bennett's Town Hall going through all the details of what you can and cannot do with reserves. There's no blanket use for reserves. They have to be approved in an open session. It has to be a resolution. It's item specific. You have to say, here are the items that are being replaced. Here's the replacement value. Here's why they're in a useful life. And everything has to be transparent and visible. So no blanket use of reserves is acceptable or allowable. And so that's just in lieu of town hall on some of these subjects where we'd have more time. I just wanted to indicate that you can't change the past, but you can learn from it. And I believe we're in good shape going forward. That's all.
Thank you. Right. Motion to ratify the draft of the association's January 2026 financials in accordance with Civil Code 5500 and 5501.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Oh. Favor.
Sure thing. Right. The board acknowledges, we're on committee minutes acceptance. The board acknowledges receipt of the following committee minutes from the Bear Committee, February 2026, Communications Committee, February 2026, Emergency Preparedness, January 2026, Governing Documents, February 2026, and the Planning Committee from January 2026. All right. EC recommendations. Motion to approve Environmental Control Committee project recommendations. There are 4, and to approve no cottage industry permits.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean, as always. Any discussion on those approval? EC items? All those in favor?
All right. Members open forum. The Board of Directors values and encourages member participation. This 25-minute members open forum is for members to share thoughts, ideas, or concerns related to our community. Members wishing to speak are kindly asked to step up to the microphone, address the board chair, and state their name, tract, and lot number. Each member will have up to 5 minutes to speak. To help keep the space respectful and productive for all, we ask that comments be shared in a courteous manner, free from offensive or disruptive language. While the board might not respond immediately during the forum, all comments will be thoughtfully noted and referred to the appropriate staff or committee for follow-up as needed. Questions that cannot be fully addressed during the meeting and require additional follow-up may be submitted in writing or emailed to the recording secretary, and the question will be responded to within 15 calendar days upon receipt. In addition, the member's name, tract, and lot number must be included. Thank you for your continued engagement and care for our mountain community. Come on down.
Thank you. Ken Migan, 3566362, Chair, Board of Directors. 3 items. First, I want to thank our General Manager for a great job on snow removal. Best and fastest I've seen in years. Second, you have on the agenda a proposed resolution regarding the equestrian center operations. In the season hours, we have to have the equestrian center. What is that? It is a place you can board horses. Nowhere does it say we have to pay for somebody else's pet horse. Yet we pay for that year after year. Why? Over the last decade, over $1 million is wasted. Third, I want to update you on our general manager, James, and my effort in reducing the bear problem in PMC. We have a bear problem. I know you know the break-ins, but there is a second problem, lack of reporting the problems. Fish and Wildlife, let me call it wildlife, money is based on the scope of the problem. What is reported, no reports, no problems, therefore no money. Patrol reports in 2023, 323 incidents, 24, 407, a 25% increase. In 25, it was only 135, a drastic decrease that makes no sense. What is worse, that wildlife only got 70 reports in 2025. That's about half the reports for patrol. Again, no money, don't report. I started working with General Manager James about 4 months ago on this issue. Obviously, a simple solution would be to have patrol to report to wildlife. One obstacle was wildlife wanted the victims to report, not patrol. I communicated with Danny Stevenson, captain of Fish and Wildlife Law Enforcement Division, liked the idea. Wildlife had certain requirements, so I wrote a procedure for patrol, sent it to James and the captain. I got an email from Lieutenant Brian Peters, also in law enforcement. Yes, patrol can report the incidents. Peters had one additional procedure that was very reasonable done. Phase 1 completed. Phase 2 is informing the members. This phase, I hope the Bear Committee will help. We will inform the members in several ways. I've talked to Daniel, the editor of Mountain Enterprise. He is interested in this story. We hope to get in next week's edition. Next, we'll post it on Facebook. Next, we'll do an email blast and a story in the Condor. Phase 3 is stopping the bear feeders. It is illegal to feed the bears. Punishable up to 1 year in jail. I've been told by wildlife if we can stop the bear feeders, we'll eliminate 75% of the problems. Part of the problem here is 1 year statute of limitation for going to court. We need to act fast. Also, to go to court costs a lot of money. We want wildlife to file and not PMC BOA. Now that James and I know the captain of law enforcement, that'll be a big help. Phase 4 is fast reaction time for wildlife. My last break-in took him 10 days to set up a trap, and then the bear had moved on. Bottom line is we need to show wildlife that PMC is serious about solving the problem. James and I are doing that. We already see results. I had one email from the captain at law enforcement, and it said, "What else can I do to help?" This is my update. I thank James for the great teamwork, getting to us and working this far, and I'm looking forward to continue. Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Thank you for your service. This is a little weird being on this side of the mic since I sat over there for 5 years. My lot number is 3405014. And Randall, I just wanted to make a comment.
So 1 second, Steve. I know your name, but will you please let everyone else know? Oh,
I'm Steve Burkett.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make this thing's feeding back. Randall, I wanted to make a comment and then have a question. I don't want this to get overpassed. I believe you said that we have over $300,000 of uncollected revenue, around 9%. Is that what you said?
5.6%.
5.6%.
Not sorry,
It was over $300,000, right?
339,000.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money. When I was on the board,
5.9%.
that number was like 0.5%. It wasn't very much. So this number is growing and growing and growing, and I just wanted to make sure people didn't overlook that number. This is now February. That money's probably not going to get collected. So my question to you guys is, I assume you're looking at these numbers as they grow to $300,000-$400,000. You have to adjust the budget. So we really don't have a $250,000 surplus in budget here because we haven't collected over $300,000. So that's my call. Thank you. Yeah.
Good point.
Mark Greco, 3507395. Okay, so I just wanted to say thank you to James. For those of you that don't know me, I'm one of the coordinators I'm the co-coordinator of the PMC CERT team. I'm active on the Radio Safety Net and some other things. So this week, I just wanted to point out for the community and for the board really, that like the mentality shift that James exemplified in being proactive and cooperating, coordinating with the community is sort of off the charts for us. It's a really big step forward. James talked months ago about getting ready for a snow event with members of EP and CERT, and he executed on it. So I just wanted to say that we see that, we appreciate that, we acknowledge that, and hopefully we can build on that. One of the things that James mentioned is that we were getting information from the radios. We were focusing on getting that on our CERT radios with CERT team members. And the goal of that is to acquire information about, what utilities are down, snow levels, road conditions, and convey that off the mountain to our partners in Bakersfield who are embedded with the Office of Emergency Services. And that's to avoid the sort of snowmageddon nightmare from a few years ago where people were stuck without power for days before help arrived. And James being in those snow plows and James getting on the radio and coordinating with us, and also Bob, I want to compliment Bob as well for that. That's such a change in mentality. It's a change in execution, and it's something that we're committed to building on. We have done a lot of good work, I think, over the last year in EP, RSN, and CERT to improve things. But I just want the community to know that we are continuing to build, and we're definitely not done. We have some big things in store, like for this community, and it's about practice. And James talking with us, asking for our help, us getting out there and doing things as a CERT team, us getting on the radio as a community on the radio and asking for road conditions, driving the roads, reporting on them. All of that is good practice for when things get a lot worse. And so I just want to echo what James says, and not to steal Sean's thunder about the future, but get a Radio Safety Net radio. Every Thursday we meet right here in the Condor room, and we help people answer their questions and help them use them. You can buy them in the clubhouse. Also, we sell them on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And Facebook is great. I know this community is on Facebook, but that's not where we're going to go to get information and to get timely information and reliable information. So I really encourage you guys to get it. When the power's out, when the internet's down, the Radio Safety Net is really what's going to connect us all and help us out. So anyway, thank you again, James.
Any additional member comment? Okay, we can continue.
Okay, there is no old business. New business, discussion only, no action. Proposed resolution regarding equestrian center operations. The board will discuss a proposed resolution submitted by Directors Bailey and Arman regarding equestrian center operations. This item is for discussion only. No board action will be taken at this meeting. Any further action will be separately noticed on a subsequent agenda.
Okay, we'll now move to the discussion item regarding the proposed resolution submitted by Directors Bailey and Arman. As stated, this item is scheduled for discussion only, and just as a reminder, no board action will be taken today. The goal of this procedure is to allow directors and members to better identify, well, to better understand the proposal, but also to ask clarifying questions and identify any additional information that will be helpful before action, before action is noticed. I will first invite the submitting directors to briefly describe the intent of the proposal, and then we will open up to questions from the board in a round robin fashion. I will take us through that. For the sake of time, for directors Mark and Armin, I would ideally like to keep your portion under 5 minutes. I'll let you know when that time is up, but if we need additional time, we can allow for it. Okay? Go ahead.
Josh, can I go?
Okay, members, thank you for coming here today. I knew this was going to be probably a little bit controversial, but first I'd like to comment on something that I overheard from the Budget and Finance Committee this past week in regards to certain amenities. I know it's often said with respect whether members knew what they was buying into, and that is not the legal standard that governs this board's responsibilities. This medieval way of thinking smacks of impropriety and short-sightedness. As directors, we owe fiduciary duties of care and loyalty to the entire membership. That means we must exercise independent judgment, act in good faith, and make informed decisions based on current facts, not simply defer to historical practice. The duty of care requires us to evaluate present financial data, operating losses, subsidiary levels, reserve impact, deferred maintenance, and long-term capital obligations. The duty of loyalty requires that we act in the best interests of the association as a whole, not in the interests of particular user groups or based upon prior board preferences. The business judgment rule protects board decisions when directors act in good faith on an informed basis with due care and in the honest belief that their decision is in the best interests of the association. However, that protection applies only when a board engages in thoughtful review and independent analysis. It does not apply if we ignore changing financial conditions or rely solely on the arguments that this is how it has always been done. Even if prior boards structured funding a certain way, this board has an ongoing obligation to reassess whether that structure remains equitable, sustainable, and consistent with our governing documents. Fiduciary responsibility is continuous. Reviewing this equestrian centre's funding model is not an attack on the amenity. It is the proper exercise of fiduciary oversight and protected board governance under the business judgment rule. I will have more to add to it as we go on through the discussion, including, just so everyone knows, Director Armin and I submitted this as a resolution. We wanted it to be in a resolution, and every member of all directors have this resolution that we submitted along with a justification. And I think my 5 minutes might come up, even though I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to go around 10 minutes twice. But in order to further discussion, I'll give up the floor, but I would like to come back to it. Thank you.
You're only at 3 minutes if you would like. You have plenty of time. So
Okay.
if you have more to say, please.
I definitely have more to say.
Okay, please continue.
Don't I always have more to say?
And like I said, Mark, the 5 minutes was only an ideal goal. It's not a limitation.
Okay, thank you. It's often been said that the CCNR's mandate that we have an equestrian centre. Well, it does mandate that we have an equestrian centre, but it doesn't mandate that we operate it at a loss. And in the last 3 fiscal years, we have taken losses of over $500,000. And we're currently on projection to lose over $150,000 $1,000 in the 2025-2026 budget. It is important that we understand the difference between what we are required, such as maintaining the real property, and what I mean by the real property is the actual real estate. We must maintain the equestrian centre so that hopefully it can be economically reduced to serving the entire membership at a reduced cost. I think leasing out of it is the correct way to go. And obviously, anyone that's currently running the equestrian centre can certainly bid on that. And again, there's a difference between maintaining the property and maintaining the operation. Like we should take care of the building, the barn, and then even on different amenities, which I'm not going to really get into, that would like include like the lounge space and what have you. But what we're not required to do is maintain the operation portions at a continuous loss, while we have many more people that would rather use the swimming pool year round, and this amenity that is using, again, over $500,000 in the last 3 years. It's just not sustainable for the association as a whole, and the members have been very vocal about that.
Director Armand, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'd just like to add that, it comes down to, is this equitable for the community to me? It's less than 1%. About 0.6% of the community gets to take advantage of the equestrian center. So 96.4 or 99.4% of us are paying for, as Ben Migan put it, people's pet horses. That's just not equitable, nor is it something I think we should continue on doing. I know there's been plenty of talks in previous years about leasing it out and seeing what we could do there, and I think there's good options. But subsidizing people's, pets is just not something that the rest of us should have to do, because it's not equitable for the community. I know people are going to come up with arguments of, I bought my house because of that. Well, there's lots of other horse communities, fortunately, and again, equity. That's what it comes down for me. That and the amount of people that during the question session were asking me, like, what are we going to do about, why are we paying for an equestrian center that such a small margin of the community gets to use? That's all.
Can you clarify the goal of the resolution so that as we move forward, it's clear?
Absolutely. And just so the members know, Director Armand and I submitted this on January the 30th, giving what I believe, and I'm not speaking on behalf of Director Armand, he was all for this chat. I believe it gave us plenty of time to submit this resolution to the members. And I almost pasted it on social media so everyone can see what this says. And basically, it was to suspend, not cancel, the equestrian centre while maintaining asset preservation. And I've got all my whereases, and I'd rather not read the whole thing. But basically, it gave the boarding contracts, I believe, 30 days. This gave everyone 60 days, and obviously we could have been a little bit more lax with that to make sure people wasn't unnecessarily put out, at which time it would have given, like James and the rest of the board, the opportunity to take bids. We've already got several people that's interested in running an equestrian centre, and obviously James has been doing due diligence with everybody else. And as far as like getting the necessary insurance, making sure we literally from top to bottom, making sure we're covered in this. And there's a lot of other associations that do run equestrian centres without this drastic drain on the membership's finances. And short of passing this resolution around to everyone, I really think it should have been posted. So I'm kind of short-handed right now. But I do have the resolution, and if it helps, I will post this throughout the various social media avenues, probably tomorrow. Then hopefully we can actually submit this as a resolution and get it voted on rather than keep kicking the can down the road, because this hasn't just started. It's time we acted. The 9 of us up here agreed to keep PMC affordable, be transparent, and let the members vote. And they're kind of speaking very, very clear. I like seeing the horses, but I don't like to see it taking over $500,000 every 3 years of the membership's assets and money.
Director Armand, do you need anything to add?
No, I think Mark covered everything. If those are the questions, I'd like to be able to address them that people have. But
Okay. To clarify for all those in the audience and listening online, placing this item on the agenda is a standard parliamentary sequencing step taken by association governance. Our board of directors in recent years, I don't know about the long past, has not utilized this as an option, but it has always been available. And it's not an attempt to delay or stall a resolution submitted by a director. It is an opportunity to take things seriously and to address important items with care. And like I said earlier, it's also an opportunity for board members to ask clarifying questions, but also to identify any additional information. But more importantly, it gives board members substantial time to deliberate high impact items to our community, while also providing ample time for community feedback. So I will move on to opening this up to directors through a round robin. I would like ideally to keep each director's time to 2 minutes, but again, it's just a goal. It's only intended to keep this meeting moving. So I will let you know if we're beyond that time, but whatever time you need to wrap up, please take it. Remember that we are looking for clarifying questions, concerns, and also identifying any information the board may need. We will hear from each director and we will hold responses until everyone's had a chance to speak. If there is a need for follow-up, we can allow a second round. Any specific questions to staff or officers, I will note during the process, and once it's completed, we can get their responses. Then we will, as typical, allow for member responses in the same format that we would following a resolution. Okay, so I'm going to first start with the non-sponsoring directors, and then Directors Armand and Bailey will also be included in the round robin. So Doug, for ease of procedure, can you be the one to begin since?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a question. We charge, I believe, $10 more for stall space for non-members, is that correct?
Hold on, we're ready. I've got that down, Doug, and we'll make sure he responds. Please, no audience response in this process. If we could please keep this organized. Continue, Doug. I've noted your question for James, and once the round robin pass is complete, he will be able to answer any questions we have.
Okay,
Okay, I'm noting all of this. Anything we can't respond to today, Doug, I'll just make sure we have for board discussion.
I just want to state that this has been an issue for decades. The amount of money that we have put into this resource for the benefit of a very small portion of the community. using the pool law from the Soviet era. It's unsightly, soft and dirty. It's right on the edge of the interface with national forest, and I just can't imagine a crew rhythm in terms of shooting a mountain line up the tree line, next off of these days. And there's a disproportionate treatment of a very small minority at the cost of the majority of the association. And regardless, just because it was that way, everything changes. The world changes. You know, this was enacted in 1975. It's a different world. And we have to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Doug. Madison?
I'm not sure that I have any questions. And I agree with the general sentiment that we need to figure out how to budget the equestrian center more effectively. But I do believe that suspending or shutting down the equestrian center would likely cause more disruption in the interim while we continue to seek out other budgeting and operating options.
Yes. I have a couple of questions for legal. Since it's in our CC now as a facility, not a property, can we suspend it? Okay. Since the suspension doesn't have an end, could this be called a de facto abandonment and open us for lawsuits? What else? Maintaining a equestrian center means also operating it in this context. When people buy into our community, pay 50K more to have access to our facilities, and then you just take it away. Just open up yourself for lawsuits. What will stop future boards doing the same with the golf course or with the pool? Just because law changes, insurance changes. It's called uniformity, right? You cannot just pick and choose facilities to support or not. I know it's not ideal, okay, but let's be reasonable about this. If there's a future for leasing an empty stable, nobody wants that. So we are, shooting ourselves in the foot here.
Thank you. Randall?
This has not been overlooked. This has been an ongoing issue which had to get in the queue. There's a lot of triage with what's been going on here with the zero-based budgeting, with James and George really digging in the line items. Everything has been looked at. You start with zero, a blank sheet of paper, and you move up. And this has to be one of the items that's looked at very seriously. This is, I think, one of the reasons, I think in the December governing docs meeting, I brought this up. I proposed, for those who lack the history here, in 2017, there was a bylaw submitted by a member petition that demanded the bistro be break even or go away. I elevated that into discussion, and that's being looked at because you can't just deal with one department and one amenity. You're setting a precedent for the entire organization, and that's why this has slowed down a bit. We have to take this seriously. You can't, if all of a sudden, I believe the vote to force the bistro, the Condor Cafe and the Lounge, force that to break even, was approved by 50.6%, a bare majority. So we have to understand what can and can't be done legally. And that's why I brought up that bylaw, because in 2018, even though it was for the Condor and that bistro and the Lounge, it was just a little parenthetical. We're not going to enforce this because legal told us we couldn't. We're resolving those issues. And we need to resolve these because we can't look at the equestrian center any different or separately from every other operation of this association. You know, we have to play by the rules, but this has not been off the agenda and not been lost. This has been discussed quite a bit. Two directors allow something to get on the agenda. However, it has bypassed the governing docs analysis. Is there a conflict with our governing documents? And I believe that's a very valid reason for putting this on a discussion only while we get things that are not easily, I mean, we can all have our own opinion reading the CC&Rs. However, we need to do this right. We need to take our time to do it properly and make sure we have all the facts. I am in total disagreement with what Director Bailey said about our fiduciary responsibility, sound business judgment. You always have to look at things objectively. And this is the year that gets done. That's the reason for the whole zero-based budget. This is something that needs to be addressed and needs to be finalized before we get next year's budget approved. But we have time, it's not quite June 30th yet, to get this, make sure we've got everything right and we're not creating another problem like in 218 where they just said we're not going to enforce this bylaw because it's not enforceable. And then we never had a legal opinion backing it up. And the members weren't allowed to see, well, there might have been a legal opinion, the members weren't allowed to see it. So I'm very much for having a delay on this because I think it would have been preemptive and I would have not been able to support something if we didn't have enough information to really make sure we had vetted the resolution properly. But that being said, I agree with everything Director Bailey said. It is a requirement that we use, I like to put the word sound in front of it, business judgment. Yeah, this is how it's always been done, but does it make sense? And I guess that's the whole point of the zero-based budgeting is question everything. We haven't had a hard comparison for anything for ages. We take last year's budget and look at a few variables and it keeps moving forward. So they're doing an amazing amount of work questioning everything. And by the way, I can't take credit for the payroll system. That's on George and James. They're questioning everything and finding savings in many, many places. So there has been a request for legal on the bistro bylaw, which is applicable to the equestrian as well. Hopefully we're going to talk about that this morning in executive. We're going to be dealing with that tonight, so all the directors are on the same page and we have a chance when dealing with legal issues to speak our minds properly. And the extra, in the past, it's always been, well, legal said, but there's been nothing given to the members to look at. And so the current law group has prepared a summary of what they offered the board, which can be shared with the membership as to the reasoning behind whatever the outcome is of this critical question. Yes, it's there. Yes, it has to be maintained, but to what degree? You know, good enough, better than good enough, or 5-star. I mean, there's a big range of what can be done, and that's where business judgment needs to come in. You know, do we need to spend some of the money we spent in the past there? Probably not. It's made it much more obvious of a resource. So we're taking our time. We're doing it properly. The members will be able to see a legal opinion when however that turns out to justify whatever the final conclusion here is, because there's a lot really that's not solid at this point of what really can and can't be done. So other than that, I'm fine. Thank you.
John?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know that this is a very hot topic. It's a hot topic for me as well. Because I did, I do support being fiscally responsible and keeping PMC affordable, but I'm also very much in agreement that we have to keep our amenities, in my opinion. Whether or not, what extent or extremes we have to go to do that would be left up to the general manager and what he is looking at in as far as this equestrian center project. Whether or not we are able to possibly lease it out, if we have anybody who's interested in that, taking it over to keep that amenity to the highest standards of what the equestrians would like to see, versus the costs. Now, again, over 3 years, we have spent over $500,000 in our assessment dollars for these animals. I grew up with animals. I believe that horses and livestock is a very valuable thing, not only to a community, but also to education. You know, I believe that the youth would be able to benefit from this equestrian center if it is given a right management profile, and if the board allows things to go in that direction, whether it's a 4-H club or anything of that nature. I believe that if this were to be voted on today, I personally would vote no. And the main reason why is because you're actually requiring us to remove all animals in 60 days. If we wanted to lease it out, all of a sudden, there's no horses. Who would want to lease out a empty equestrian center? Nobody. The other thing I look at is if that place is empty, would that leave it open to vandalism or some, people going in there that shouldn't be there? You're opening up a hornet's nest, in my humble opinion, with that type of extreme. It's just, to me, it's just too extreme to remove animals. And we have a new board, we have a new general manager, we have a accountant that is one of the best that I've ever seen, working on lowering our assessments, working on lowering costs, finding cost savings measures. They're working on the equestrian center right now. Yes, for years, previous boards went down the road and just did what they did. We are a new board. We are a new system. And I believe that with the support of this board, that our general manager and our employees can work something out to maintain the highest quality of our not only golf course, our equestrian center, all of the amenities that we have. We can continue to have them flourish. Now, I believe myself personally, I would like to see it leased out. But that's me personally. I'm not going to speak for everybody. Same with the bistro. If we cannot make money, we are not necessarily the right people to take over that type of business. And we should find people who can take over a business that can make money and make a life for themselves and continue to contribute to the betterment of our community. This, to me, was I think it just needs to be reworked. I do not believe that this is, it's all or nothing. I don't believe we need to go that direction. I want to see horses up here because I'm a horseman. I grew up with them. I had them all my life. This is my first time I've never had a horse. So, at some point I might get one again, but I'd like to have a place to keep it where I can go and ride if that's the direction I'd like to go. And I want to make sure that that opportunity is for everyone. Yes, 0.6% use it. 18 members, I believe it is, have horses up there, 26 horses. That's a hard pill to swallow. And I get it. And I believe that we can make a better financial decision with the Equestrian Center and keeping it.
Yeah, of course, we're going to hear from a lot of people today who have vested interest in keeping it because they have horses there, and they don't want to lose their subsidized. It's cheap to have a horse up there. You look comparatively in the community, and it's pretty cheap to have a horse up here.
Please,
Point of order.
audience, there will be an opportunity to respond according to procedure. Please do not interrupt this process.
I have friends in the community who, just you want to talk about getting facts straight. I have friends in the community who board horses professionally. That's what they do out in Walker Valley, and it is much more expensive to board horses there. We do it very cheaply, and it's subsidized very heavily. It's not fair to the rest of the members. And of course, I understand that we have people on the board who may have horses there and they have vested interest. And when it comes to voting, I think ethically they'd be asked to recuse themselves from the vote.
That's correct.
So just for everybody's understanding, I grew up, we had 8 Arabs, right? Big, beautiful horses, wide backs. They were great for riding bareback. I've done operations with the actual last horseback cavalry. Horses are great. I have nothing against horses. I love horses. Like I said, we grew up with them. We've had horses my whole life. My mom and sister loved horses, so we had horses. I understand what it takes to nurture them and care for them and how much joy they can bring. But when you're subsidizing 0.6% of the community, that's just not equitable and it's not right. And we do have a financial obligation to make sure that everything is, that most of our amenities are equitable for a large amount of the community. Like Mark had brought up, like why, originally when they talked about building the pool, they were talking about keeping it open year round, making it a 4-season pool. Well, if we weren't subsidizing the equestrian center so heavily, then we could afford to keep the pool open. There's lots of ways to redistribute that money that would make a lot more sense for our community and be a lot more equitable, that would bring more community involvement. You have a very small percent, like I said, less than 1% who is vested in their horses because that's something they like. That's something they want to hold on to, and they're subsidized. Right? We make it cheap for them to have a horse up here. It's a liability for us. We pay for that. All the members pay for that. I don't even think that's in the losses calculated. What we're putting forth is not to take it away, not to take anything away from actual building in our CCNRs. What we're required to actually do is not keep a running equestrian center, but to maintain the structure and facility. That's it. So that's when we looked at it, Mark and I, we went through everything, like how's this going to affect people? How's it going to affect the people that work there? How's it going to affect the community members? And then we looked at the stable agreement, the agreement you sign when you board your horse there. Well, none of that says that we can't close it down within 60 days. That actually, we closed it down within 30 days. And the boarding agreement was written so poorly. It gives us a lot of flexibility, and also there's a lot of, gray area as far as what the members can do in the facility. So I think at a minimum that needs to be tightened up. We're not doing this against the community. We're doing it for the majority of the community. And I hear the nays in the audience, right? People very vocal. And these are the people who own horses up here. Of course they're going to be upset. Oh, you're taking away something from me. If we're giving welfare out to people and you take it away, people get upset about that. And that kind of is what this equates to. Why am I paying for, and the rest of us paying for somebody else's horse? I don't have a horse up here. You know, and they talk about how does it trickle down to like the golf course because we subsidize that too. Well, there's a lot of people that use the golf course. It's something that everybody can use and have access to. The stables aren't something that everybody has access to. That's only a limited number of, there's only a limited number of spaces there.
Point of
Point of
order,
order.
audience.
I would respectfully request that if people can't keep quiet during this, then they can take themselves out of the room.
I need the audience to please follow the established procedure.
My time isn't up. Can you handle this chair, please? No. Asshole. I'm being called an asshole by our members. Out of the
That's
room, please.
Absolutely
Where-
not
can we get
acceptable.
Motion to take a 5-minute break.
Yes.
And then I'll finish.
Hold
my
on, may I have a second on the motion?
Seconded.
All in favor of a 5-minute break? Okay, when we reconvene, I will have zero tolerance for that kind of behavior towards directors. This is an environment of respect, and if you cannot honor that, you will be asked to leave.
And I'd ask that person to call me an asshole to leave now. Absolutely done.
The 5 minutes
5
begins
minutes.
now.
I'm in break. Yeah.
Not sure.
I get 10. Don't give me 10. Yeah, 10 minutes twice.
You, George.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Shit, she did it wrong. Cole didn't notice. Shit. No. The problem is, he wrapped it on wrong. Shit.
Reese. You're on a hot mic.
It's
all right. It's okay. I'm not.
I understand that you're the budgeting committee.
Thank you so much. And I'm like, I thought they got like how embarrassing. No, he's like, Ron.
How are you, my grandparents? Only once.
minutes ago.
I do not agree that you have a horse, you have to take yourself out of it. This is not correct, because everybody here eats hamburgers. When
If audience members can please settle down and find their seats, we are about to reconvene. I have patrol available And anyone from the audience who is out of turn will be asked to leave the meeting. Just let me know when you find that information. Continue with, we still have.
Nicole, apparently the audience is on mute. They can't hear our conversations on the Zoom calls.
Yeah, George said we were unmuted
Okay.
at that point. That's,
I received it.
thank you for checking.
Also, Nicole, point of order, the person that cussed Director Armand out, could they identify themselves and please be asked to leave the room?
Yeah, forgive me, audience, this is not something I'm experienced in, and I don't know what the correct protocol would be, but there's a request that whichever member used, absolutely unacceptable language towards our director, that you please identify yourself and leave the room. Mark, if you would, I'm not sure what to do beyond this point, other than having patrol remove the individual.
That's fine. I mean, they didn't identify themselves, so they showed who they really are. And that's good enough. Thank you.
Okay. Director Coulter is still out of the room, but he's asked us to continue. So it is now left to Director Bailey to provide his director comment, and we will then move forward in this process.
Well, I'd like to finish with my time now. Are we moving forward, Nicole?
Sorry?
Are we moving forward? Or?
Yes, it's Mark's.
I'm still recruiting. I'm recruiting the rest of my time.
Oh, okay. Forgive me.
I wasn't finished.
Go ahead, continue. Sorry about that.
One of the reasons we've done this as a 60-day is it kind of forces the hand of anybody who would like to lease out. We can't keep pushing the buck down the road. And this is something that should have been looked at long ago. I feel like was failed by the boards in the past to not analyze every single aspect of how we're doing things, and moving to a zero-based budget is an excellent idea for us. We should be running this like a corporation. We need to kind of force this to make somebody come forward, because there's several interested individuals. I can't get into details about it. I've been asked not to, but there's several interested individuals in leasing the equestrian center. I was just informed that back in the 80s, it was leased and making a profit, and that was much better for the community. Not having to subsidize all these things like the bistro, like the equestrian center, is much better for our bottom line. If we can reduce our assessment costs, like I think we might be on track to this year, James, then that's something we need to do, not just tacking on and tacking on and tacking on. We're not big government here. We need to be fiscally responsible. Making this move, and people mentioned that, closing down the equestrian center with no horses in it, nobody wants to lease that. Well, it gives them the option to find the type of people they want to be underneath their, stewardship. Maybe you don't want all the current tenants there because that's not how you want to run your program. But doing this makes it so there is more urgency to get it leased out, because that is the intent, is to get it leased out to somebody who can run it effectively, not at a loss. I don't think any business running a loss, we all know it doesn't work, right? Those close down. There's layoffs starts happening when you're losing money on something, and it's just not fair. Whether the member should be paying more to make it break even, if the resolution doesn't pass, is something we absolutely need to look at, because we shouldn't be subsidizing this. But I think that forcing us and closing it down allows us to put more effort into finding somebody to lease it out, so there is continuity in the care there. And again, I understand the opposition. I understand you guys have horses and you don't want your subsidy taken away, but it's not equitable. If you were equitable people, which I think many of you probably are, you'd realize that 0.6% of the community, 99.4% of us paying for a small individual set of horses is just not equitable. If you were on the other side, I'm sure you'd be very against it. So think about, before you come up here, about what is equitable to the community. I've looked at the arguments of, what is it going to cost? Do we lose value in our homes? None of that really exists. Talking to career realtors, like if we close this amenity down, does it affect us? Does it make my house worth less? And they're like, absolutely not. It's not going to affect anything. You guys aren't truly a horse community. That's not how it's set up. We have an equestrian center, but we're not really like built around horses in this community. We have a couple of riding trails, and we have all the, mountain lions and bears and all those things that having wild animals up here attract. So having that up here, maybe it's something the bear committee should look at and say, like, okay, is this an attractor for big game animals? I think there's a lot of nuance here, but Mark and I have really gone head to head, and I've talked about this with other people in the community, other directors. This is something we need to seriously look at very hard, because it needs to be done. We can't just keep pushing this down the line for the next board. We need to do it now, and we're pushing it because we want to get it done underneath while we're still on the board. We want to make sure that we had impact in this community and do the things that we were voted in to do. This is why I was voted in for so many people, to do this and this in the bistro.
Thank you. And Mark.
Thank you. And like everyone else has said, I too like horses. I really do. I grew up in England, and the only difference is in England, you go horse riding. In America, you go horseback riding. I didn't know there was a different place to sit on the horse, but I actually do like horses. Okay, it was mentioned on as far as what legal would do. Could we be sued if we closed the operation down? No, we can't. There's quite a bit of case law that I brought up that I'm not going to bore you with, but Tandem versus La Jolla Shores condominium comes up with it, where courts defer to board decisions when the board acts in good faith after reasonable investigation and in the best interest of the association. Meaning that if the board evaluates financial harm and adjusts operations responsibly, courts generally do not second-guess operational decisions. Across California, HOA disputes, courts repeatedly upheld boards that reduce amenity hours, modify services, close facilities temporarily, change operational models, lease amenities to vendors, suspend operations due to cost. As long as property is still maintained, decisions are reasonable, board acts in good faith. And why courts don't treat operations as mandatory. Amenities evolve over time, economic conditions change, associations must manage financials prudently, boards must protect all members, not just amenity users. And if operations equaled property, then the pool could never close, golf courses could never be restructured, and restaurants could never shut down. Courts avoid that outcome. Anyhow, I've just got a few more notes here. For every month we don't act, we keep on paying. And James sits up here, Randall does, and they both talk about the savings they're making. It's actually kind of somewhat incremental, but massively valuable all the same. And I absolutely, wholeheartedly appreciate it. But here we're like, look, losing 12, 15 grand a month, and it's going on and on and on. It was also mentioned that, what are we going to do with the golf course? And like Josh said, Director Armand said, a lot more people use the golf course than 0.6%. And respectfully, I disagree with Director Schoening, who has a horse, and a facility is a building structure, physical place, not an operation. An operation is the activity conducted within that. And it isn't in the CC and R requirement, operations. We heard about Extreme as far as like temporarily closing it down while we look to come up with a better way to finance the equestrian centre so it's equitable for all. I think it's extreme to make the entire membership pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for an estimated 18 households using the equestrian centre. It's simply not equitable. And I think, along with Director Armand, if the people that's here right now, not all using foul language, but are obviously very, very angry, I think if the shoe was on the other foot, I think they might agree. I know for a fact that the vast majority of the membership agrees. And yes, if we leased it, horses will still come. The centre, which is the physical asset, must be maintained, and it would not get discarded. And yes, when it is, if it is, in fact, leased out, and these same owners want their horses close to them, and who knows, maybe maintained better, I guarantee you they're going to move their horses right back in, and then the association, even if we lease it out for $1 a year, we're not going to be costing this inordinate amount of ridiculous assessments for such a tiny minority. Sorry if I upset people, but thank you for listening.
Thank you. Before we move on, I just want to go back to Doug's original questions for James. And if you don't have this information now, don't worry. But he asked about non-members and their payment, and he's also wondering if you know how many non-residents utilize the service.
Director Wild, yes, on the equestrian center fees, barn stalls $310 for members, and for full-time tenants $320. So yes, $10. Pipe corrals $284 for members, $289 for full-time tenant boarders. Pasture $231. These are monthly rates, and then $236 for full-time tenants.
Okay, thank you. So, sorry, Doug, did you? Okay. Doug, I hate to interrupt you. We can do a second round if it's necessary, but don't forget, we will not be ending the opportunity for director comment as we, as this process goes forward. You will have substantial opportunity. Thank you. So briefly, I'm going to include my personal perspective as a director, my concerns. I want to remain mindful of any unintended consequences of board actions and their impacts to the broader community. I also have a concern over who is going to end up suffering the effects of this situation that is a financial issue that was not caused by the boarders themselves. So in equity, in consciousness of equity, I would want to avoid potential actions that would unfairly treat one side of the equation in any way. I would just want to take special care over there around that. In addition, I want to explore all other options that could potentially solve the financial issue. I agree that it needs to be solved. I'm not in disagreement there. And I believe we do have a few possible avenues for approaching that. So I want to make sure those are fully documented, and any additional information that directors may need for that is provided so that we can thoroughly discuss all other options prior to making a decision. And in addition to what we've been provided with, which is a summary of the, I guess, the subsidization of the equestrian center, I would like a detailed line-by-line accounting of it so that we can identify specifics around which parts are creating this issue. Detailed accounting, as well as the capacity it has to generate revenue. So thank you all for bearing with us through that. We will open up to member comments. I would like this to be similar to comments that follow resolution, where members can maintain a 1-minute time frame. There are quite a few of you today, and I don't want to deny you the opportunity of speaking. So if you could please be conscious of your time, we will get as many members in as reasonable.
Good, Megan. Same number as last time. I think this boils down to one simple fact. I'm on the government doc committee. Okay, I'm not speaking on behalf of them. This is my personal opinion. But the board, this is a assessment that is not approved. It is not in our CCNR. It's not in our bylaws. And in order for approve an expense, it has to be either in the CCNRs or the bylaws. So you cannot do this. What gives you the right to charge it for whatever you think? None. None whatsoever. Now, I agree that it would be nice to have the horses up there, but people need to pay for them themselves. It is not in our regulations. It's that simple.
Mark Greco, 3507395. So I'm like Finn, I'm on the governing docs committee. I don't speak for the committee. The issue that Randall mentioned regarding clubhouse resolution came up in December. So I just want to, if you guys have worked with me at all, you know I'm a stickler for detail. The word amenity is not in the CCNRs. The word improvement in facility, it is not, the Equestrian Center is not a facility, and it's just a technical thing. It's a property, and the words are under 1.2, Equestrian Center with tack rooms, corrals, paddocks, and parking areas. What that means, I don't know, but it also says clubhouse. It does not say restaurant. So I just want to point that out, that within the CCNRs, the facilities are defined as properties or improvements. And what you do within that improvement, this, I'll just talk about this area here. This could be a bunch of pool tables and lounge for people to sit around in between golf games, if that's what you guys decided. So I wanted to clear up when I came here as a member, there was a lot of talk about we're stuck with these amenities. We have to fund these amenities. And that's what the CCNRs say. Well, I would encourage you, please read the CCNRs. I hope, Randall, you get that legal opinion to the public. I'm very curious what they say. But to me, if you read the CCNRs, it would clear up, some of the confusion here and really focus on what is the right business decision for the community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rick Rivette, track 3405, lot 61. I've lived here in Pine Mountain Club for 25 years. When we moved here, we had 6 kids, and we were not horse owners. But we became pretty much aware that horses is a part of the culture here. It's a part of the community here. And it's not, the horse owners, so the shoe was on the other foot for 22 years. And we never had any resentment towards people who owned horses and never, felt bad about the club subsidizing the horses. And I'll tell you why, is because the stables is an open place. Anybody can go there anytime, and people do go there anytime. And families come, couples come, individuals come, and they enjoy the horses. So 3 years ago, I bought a horse. And so now I spend more time at the stables. And people walk their dogs by the stables so that they can see the horses, so that their dogs can see the horses. We love seeing the horses in the parades. We did for, 22 years and the 3 years after that. But I think it's misleading to say we're subsidizing people's pets, because everybody in the community enjoys these pets. They enjoy seeing them. They enjoy taking lessons. They enjoy visiting them. And if you don't see that, you're out of touch with this community. And I'll say this, that when we first moved here, our oldest daughter was a senior in high school. It was a difficult move for her. She left her high school, left her friends, and she had kind of a difficult time, but we wanted to keep our family together. And one of the things that helped pull her through is that she made a friend here in Pine Mountain Club, and that friend owned a horse. And so she got to go to the stables, and she got to be familiar with her friend's horse. She got to ride her friend's horse. Then later, my youngest son and my two daughters, we didn't own a horse, but my kids went down there, and thanks to the generosity of horse owners, they learned about horses, they got to ride horses, and as adults, they're good riders today. And when they come and visit, that's what they want to do. They want to visit the horses. When they bring our grandkids here, that's what the grandkids want to do. They want to go visit the horses. So this is a community thing, and it's very embedded in the atmosphere and the community that everybody enjoys. I think, in one sense, the people who don't have horses, they have the advantage because they get to enjoy the horses without paying a stable fee. And, I would also question, you mentioned, Armin, that it's cheaper to keep your horse in Lockwood Valley. You didn't verify that, so I'm going to make a statement that I'm not going to verify either. My understanding, I know somebody who moved their horse to Lockwood Valley because it was cheaper there. And my understanding is that the fees that horse owners pay is very comparable to other places, especially other places around here on the mountain. And then
We're at 3 minutes. If you could please wrap up. Thank you.
Again, I think that the horses is something that everybody enjoys, whether they pay for it or not, or whether they own a horse or not.
Good morning, Lori Harmon, lot 3507118. I wanted to clarify something about the boarding rates. When people look at our posted rates, whether that's a barn stall or our pasture space, it's easy to focus on the base number and assume that's what horse owners are paying for each month. But the base rate is simply the starting point. We operate a full care facility. Many of our members live off the mountain. Many work full-time off the hill. Some are physically unable to be here daily to provide the hands-on care. Because of that, many members utilize the additional services we provide. Those services not only support individualized care for each horse, they are also an important part of our facility's revenue structure. So let's use a barn stall as an example. A boarder has a barn stall at $310 per month. That's the base boarding rate. If the boarder requests turnout 3 times per week at $8 each, that adds approximately $96 per month. If they schedule lunging once per week at $20, that adds another $80 per month. Blanketing during winter can easily add $100 or more, depending on the weather. If the horse is a hard keeper, that adds another $50 a month. A very typical monthly total lands to be around $550 to the $650 range. Our base boarding rates are in the median range compared to our neighboring facilities. Once additional services are included, many of our boarders are paying at the higher end of the local market. It's important that when boarding rates are discussed, the full picture is reflected, not just the starting number. Thank you.
Okay. Tony Harmon, 3507, 118. When we were on the board, I was on the board, we didn't treat our amenities like businesses because amenities aren't businesses. There's a huge difference between the two. If you don't understand that, look it up. So the question center is in our CCNRs as an amenity. It's not optional. It's part of the structural framework of this community. The same governing framework that every homeowner agreed to when they purchased property here. Amenities are not justified by how many people personally use them. Very few amenities in any association are used by a majority of members. They are justified by the collective value they bring to the community, through identity, marketability, and proper value support. The Equestrian Center is part of the character of Pine Mountain Club. It is part of how this community is positioned. It is part of why some people chose to buy here instead of somewhere else, including my family. Contracting it out does not eliminate cost. It redistributes cost and introduces instability. Under a lean 250,000 operating model, boarding would need to approach $820 per month at full occupancy in order to sustain itself. That assumes no vacancies and no major financial shocks. If occupancy drops, which is likely under that, the rates must rise again. This is not theoretical, it's basic math. This creates predictable consequences. Boarder may not sign the new boarding agreement, creating legal issues for any potential contractor. So they may not sign the new boarding agreement. Now you got a bunch of squatters sitting down there paying zero. And that's a legal problem, not only for the board, but also for anybody trying to do it. Occupancy decline, rate escalation, operator strain, and increased risk of contract terminations. Okay. If an operator cannot sustain the model, the association does not walk away. The association owns the land, inherits the responsibility, and absorbs the reputational impact of the effect on property values. In addition, converting a listed amenity into a private enterprise fundamentally alters its structure and access. That arises governance questions. When a core amenity identified in recording governing documents is materially restructured without broader membership input, it creates legal ambiguity and potential lawsuits. This is not a threat, it's a fiduciary consideration, because lawsuits most likely will come. So brace yourself for that. This is not about whether a few members board horses. This is about whether the board preserves or weakens a recorded component of the community's foundation. Once structural damage is done to an amenity like this, once occupancy collapses, it's really hard to recover.
We're at 3 minutes.
Okay, so wrapping it up, I did the math on the budget that you sent out, the 2-page budget that you sent out, and it showed, I did the math on it, and the math shows that each member pays about $4 a month. $4 a month. That's $1 a week to have an equine center. $1 a week. So we're going to go through all of this to save $1 a week. Good move.
Jose and Alejandra Echeverria, lot 3507259.
Do you need to adjust the microphone a little bit?
For many residents, including my family and I, our homes are the most valuable asset that we own. I don't know about any of you, but when we decided on PMC, we purchased a lifestyle and a community, more so than a home. And we knew that it came at an additional cost. Did we golf? No. Did we own horses? No. Practice archery, play pickleball or tennis? No, definitely not. Did we eat? Obviously. You don't acquire this physique by eating at home every day. But my point is, we bought into a lifestyle. We didn't use or need any of the amenities, but our realtor sold us on this beautiful community with amenities at a price, just like many of the realtors do now. Only difference is my realtor, unlike others around here, didn't line his pockets with the commission he earned from my purchase and then try to dismantle the very dream that he sold me. Sorry, I don't like speaking in front of people. which might I add, these realtors post their descriptions to include these amenities in their sales pitches. If you remove the equestrian center, you begin to dismantle the amenities that all of us knew we were in agreement with and buying into when we purchased our home in PMC. You will be negatively influencing the value of our homes, whether you realize it or not. You will never have enough money. The equestrian center it's just the beginning, because the problem is not the equestrian center at all. You say you don't want to pay for the pets of the few. Well, we got back to the most, I apologize. Well, we go back to the most factual point, which is that you indeed purchased your home knowing that part of your responsibility as a resident was to pay into each of the assessments, including the equestrian center. It seems unfair that you feel your hobby is more important than any of ours. One of the members brought up a very important point that I was going to look into. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, so get ready for the pushback for lawsuit. Everyone loves the class action lawsuit. By the way, I vote we should all get rid of dogs and cats because they are more at risk to get attacked by mountain lions, coyotes, and bears than a horse. When you purchase a home, any smart person knows that you purchased the worst home in the most beautiful community, because you could change your home, but you can't change your community. And that's exactly what you guys are trying to do. We purchased our home because of the community, because of the lifestyle, because of the amenities, and you guys are trying to take that away from us. And for a lot of us, not for me, I don't have a horse. My husband does, but I don't. I don't play golf. I don't swim. But a lot of these things give people peace of mind. They work hard to purchase their homes. For you guys to just pick and choose what you like and what you want to remove is unfair. Thank you.
Hello? Right there? Yeah, can you listen to me? Okay, my name is Carlos Alberto Tolosa. I'm a broker mortgage in a real estate.
Sorry, Carlos, do you have your member ID?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 3567153. Okay. I was saying I'm a broker mortgage, and I also a real estate agent for the past 28 years. I just want to make a correction. If you get a property, a facility, a community, exactly the same, one with amenities, one without amenities, you're going to find a higher price in the one with amenities. You can check that with an appraiser. I'm telling you that 100% sure. Also, on the amenities, on the contract, the legal part, as me, I always deal with contracts. We get into lawsuits and stuff like that. When you advertise a property with amenities, horse properties. When I bought this property, the first reason why I bought it is because it has a horse facility. That was the reason. I have another house in Santa Clarita. I only use it for the weekends, but we bought this house because it has, for the weekends, it has a horse facility. And when you advertise a property with horse facilities, you gotta really, really get into those contracts, because for sure you're gonna gotta sue if they were in somehow advertised that they offer that facility. On top of that, I guess they are looking into a square mine, not a real open mine. I mean, the Equestrian Center, I mean, it's used for a few people, but a lot of people take advantage of it. There is people coming. I invite in the weekends, maybe 5 couples, 4 couples. All of them come, spend money on the store, put gas at the end, going back home. I mean, they spend money. They bring money to the community. They like the community. They tell more people. They go. I mean, they probably haven't seen in a regular special day, the stables, how many people go, children, families who come to visit, go and see, enjoy the horses. So it's basically something the community enjoyed. I mean, I won't buy this property if it didn't have the horse facilities. I probably didn't buy it. And as I'm telling you, regarding price, as I said before, I live in Santa Clarita, and I found another facility in Castaic, which is cheaper than this. But I don't want to take my horse there. I like it here. I like the way it's treated. I like to see the smiles of the kids when they come to see the horses. I like the happy families being around. So I think they are looking into this just with a straight mind. I mean, if you go to any accounting place and you got a profit and loss statement, everybody's going to spend money in marketing. And they don't get anything from that marketing, but they get more business. It's exactly what they are doing with these amenities. It's a marketing tool. So they got to spend money in the marketing tool because that's how more people be attracted to come here, spend money because we have those facilities. If we don't have any of these facilities, Pine Mountain Club will be like any little place. That's it. But that's the way that they want to take it. That's probably the route. They're taking steps to take it away. I know real estate. I know what happened when cities become a ghost town. It's exactly the steps that they want to take. That's it. Thank you.
All right, we have one more member comment.
Be very brief. Paula Cardea, number 3508583. I just want to say that I'm also came here completely new to horses. I never won a horse before. Also don't golf. I like the pool. I love the pool. So when I came here, I started as a renter. I didn't own a home. But as a renter, when I learned that there was an equestrian center, I started attending the beautiful barn that we have, and it pretty much became our daily appointment. It took me 2 or 3 years to finally decide to buy a horse. But before then, I actually, because of the manager that we have, and because the sense of community that he offers, because it's also like a center where you learn, even if you don't have any experience. I learned so much that allowed me to go out there in the Santa Clarita community and actually got hired in a facility where we practice equine therapy without owning a horse. The same thing happened to my daughter, also wasn't a horse owner. She's now as an adult, but it all started here. So she learned about horsemanship because you guys allowed to have high standards and professionals that work and they're willing to work with the boarders and they're willing to teach, not just to look and take care of your horse when you're not there, but actually the mentality that you allowed is to nurturing in this community and teach about horses. We are a horse community. There's no deny about that. We have horse trails. It makes us a horse community. We live near our other horses community and we exchange knowledge. But anyway, also my daughter went up there and found a job in the equestrian field. So this is valuable for us. It made me financially more stable because of that, and I learned that here. And that's all I gotta say. So the fact that we're not, some of you have said that most people don't care about the horses. Well, it's not true because maybe you haven't been at our events that our manager and their beautiful staff put together. We have amazing turnout. So I don't know what you're getting that information, but our community love horses and they love the barn. So they don't want to get rid of it. I assure you of that.
Hi, my name is Dana Walter, and our lot number is 3507168. My husband Alan and I, we moved here 7.5 years ago. We lived in our previous home in Moore Park for 36 years. So moving here was a big investment. It was a huge decision. And we came up for a year just to get a feel for the community. And we loved the vibe, and we loved all the amenities. We loved that we have our own security guards, our 24-hour security guards. I think that's a huge benefit to us. A golf course. I don't golf, but I think it's beautiful. I love Concert in the Green, the pool, the tennis courts. I love that we have a clubhouse and entertainment every weekend. And of course, the equestrian center. And I didn't own a horse when we came up here. But I went up and visited and I loved it. So we bought Emmy 2 years ago. And it turned into being so much more than what I even anticipated because we are very involved in our community. We do events at least 4 times a year that embrace everybody to come and enjoy. One of them being our open house that we do in the summer, and it doesn't cost anything to come. We do demonstrations on the horses. We show their different gaits, different riding styles. We have a petting zoo for the kids, pony rides, and we charge nothing. We volunteer, we do it. Halloween, we have our Halloween barn bash. We dress up the horses, we pass out candy, we have games, dancing, and we have huge turnouts. You can't even park. You know, it's full, and we get to know our neighbors, and it's for old and young alike. And as far as visitors, we constantly have visitors, and we love them, and the horses love them, and we share everything that we can to them. And we also have lessons. If you don't own a horse, you don't have to own a horse. You can take lessons, and it can be young or old. And just for the record, my board bill is $400 a month. Okay, because she gets fed 3 times a day. She's on medication, which sometimes I can't get there to give her. I use the extra amenities. We had that snowstorm. I couldn't drive down there to get to her, and they blanketed her for me, and I happily pay that. But that's not nothing. $400 is a lot of money, okay? And, you know, we also do horseshoe art in the summer, and we don't charge anything for that either. And it's young, old, and we give the kids lunch. So I think you guys need to look at it. It's not just for us, the people that own horses, but that we want to share it with the community, give it the kids up here something else to do. And also, it's a great investment for our real estate. It makes our real estate valuable. So I think to try to disband it, bring in another, I mean, our facility is beautiful. People walk in and they go, I can't believe this is all here. I didn't even realize, and they keep going. And we are in the parades. We do the Lilac Festival every year. Last 2 years, we've had the biggest entry because we have other horse people that want to come up and join, and that's a great
Minutes.
representation. Okay, of course. Thank you for your time.
Hi, everybody. I have to wear my glasses. This is something I don't remember. I don't keep it in my memory banks. No reason to. Uh, 3402277.
And your name, please.
David Layla. My thoughts might be a little different than what's been said. I only want to say a couple of things. One, this meeting is for you guys to see what the input is of the horse owners, and hopefully what a lot of other people think in the community. You know, Mark, you brought up how the majority of the community is against this. You know, I think there's a lot of misinformation, and there's only one person that knows the truth, and that's God. And I can tell you right now, he knows the truth. And if there is any deceivement in what you guys are trying to do, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. I don't care what you do, you're not going to win, because he's number one, and he's in the forefront of this whole operation. Okay? So what's been said here is accurate. What Tony said is accurate. Okay? I don't know because I haven't done the research. Okay? But you guys, if you want to take this to a vote to the whole community, you better get the facts straight and not have any misinformation. I can tell you that right now, because God is more powerful than any of you and me, anybody. So if there's any lies, if there's any deceivement, it's going to be on you guys' heads. I can tell you right now.
Point of order. I don't think it's appropriate to accuse board members of deceit or misinformation at this point. This is an informative discussion, and it's a democratic environment where we're open to sharing views, but we're not making personal judgments about specific board members. It's not appropriate.
I never said a name. All I said was,
They could just be
yeah, I
eliminated.
never said any names.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to move on.
Okay. Director Randall Gates, you're up for the first resolution.
Take time to adjust. Again, this has been, treat the matter seriously, which is what we're doing. And in very large type, we have a Article 20. I, Director Randall Gates, move the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution 02-2126 to amend Rule Article 20, Election Rules as posted on January 8, 2026. As submitted. Do we have a second, John?
Second.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to read all the whereases. As you can see, they're fairly short, but the prior election rules have been completely revised, removing Corporate Transparency Act requirements, which are no longer relevant. Really, the major reason that they were revised and then they went to legal for the complete revision is there was a lot of misunderstanding last year about electronic voting. And the way this was written was it would happen and you would be forced in unless you opted out. And there may be a lot of people who are probably quite thankful they're not online a lot or have emails and things like that. But this changes that to where if the board decides, and it would have to be voted on an open session and be a public decision to go through electronic voting, people would opt in to electronic votes, and by default, they would stay with a paper ballot, which, because I think the way it was worded before, would have put them in quite an inappropriate situation, because they might even be aware that their email was the means they were identifying themselves. So that's all I have to say on my commentary. Any comments?
Real quickly, is there anything in this resolution that discusses also allowing members to have their ballots the day of? If they want to bring their paper ballot in the day of the election? Because I know that was discussed.
I'd let James weigh in on that if you could. We've been working on providing that to the members.
Trying to remember the details on that. I don't think the day of, but
Having a box here?
A ballot box.
within a close proximity of when the deadline is, we will be receiving ballots. The problem with day of is they have to validate it. So I'll have to get more details. I know we're going to be accepting ballots to a certain point. I don't know when that cutoff is going to be. The vendor is going to be on site. I just can't recall as far as ballots coming in that day. I'd have to double check on that. Sorry.
And one other question then, since I have your attention. Will the ballots be read and done here on site, or is it going to be out?
That's going to be done right here on site.
Excellent. Thank you.
And Sean, there will be a ballot box.
Yes,
One second.
that's what I surmised. But it is done on site instead of what we've had in the past with house election.
Let me just add to that. We need to clarify what James is saying, that when, right now, instead of rushing to get it overnight to Carlsbad, the member will be able to place it in a lockbox, and that will be supervised. We just need to know the gap between when that stops and that it will be nothing like we've had in the past for scrambling in the last week to make sure your ballot gets to Carlsbad in time.
Excellent.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Members?
Oh, sorry. Would members like to comment? Okay. All those in favor? Doug? Okay, resolution carries.
Okay.
Director Gates.
I don't want to mangle the second name of the, okay. I, Director Randall Gates, move the adoption of the following resolution. 02-2126, approve agreement with Porter and Lazowitz. Easy for you to say.
I was going to miss that one.
CPAs for Internal Revenue Code Section 501c4 consulting not to exceed $9,500.
We have a second.
Second.
Go through most of the whereases here because they're all pretty relevant. Again, we've talked about that we're no longer a 501c3 based on audit. We're very fortunate. The agent was understanding and we're not required to amend returns that were already filed. And that could cost us some money on the differences. Section 528, third bullet down, that's pretty much a given. We would fall under that if we just chose to do nothing. And we would have probably a 9% increase in our tax on investment income. One of the benefits of, I'm jumping around here, of Separate Revenue Code 501c4 though is we're allowed to advertise. It doesn't deny us the ability to file and be treated essentially as a not-for-profit. But we could encourage more participation to golf course. Some of the amenities, they could be announced. You might even get more traffic at the cafe, et cetera, like that. So it really opens up what's been really a restriction of a member-only community, and the public, within reason, would be allowed. This firm, Porter and Lazowitz, can't roll my
Polish.
can't roll my V's, sorry.
Lazy Wicks.
They're probably one of two firms in the U.S. specialize in this issue with associations. They have an excellent track record. On those who are familiar with Bear Valley Springs in Tehachapi, they are a 501c4. So they're allowed to operate under the guidelines we're seeking to operate under. This firm has a great extensive body of work. I'm familiar with it for years because I've always questioned the form we were filing under 501c7. And I believe when you look at the cost benefit, this is a not to exceed of $9,500. There is always a risk it would have to go, if you go to tax court and you lose, you have to hire an attorney. They actually have someone at that point who a fixed fee would take it at that case, but he's had over 100 successes in doing this. When you look at saving a substantial amount annually going forward, in my view, this is a required investment to get the tax, similar to what we've done in a lot of areas. Order in, that's.
Yeah, just for clarification for the members and the community as a whole. And number one, I am very much in support of this 501c4. Just so you know.
I'm listening.
I was listening. But I do want to bring to the attention of the members, if we go this direction with this 501c4, does it open our community up to no longer being a private community and more of a public entity? So where you're saying that we can go on to the enterprise and we can promote our clubhouse, or we can promote our golf course and golf tournaments, that makes it more of a public thing at that point. I just want to clarify that for the members.
The members would always have the first priority on everything. However, room available, then the public could come in. Charity events, concerts on the greens, whether they're a member or not, they're still going to buy hot dogs, right? So again, it's the members always have the priority, and for the association, but to have some income supplemented on our budget would not hurt. And again, just saving substantial amount in tax, because even though not for profit, we pay taxes on non-exempt income under under 501c7 and section 528, but under section 501c4, no tax on investment income. So to be honest, the revenue we get from a reserve and all that goes right to the bottom line instead of being paid in a tax bill. One of those hybrid things.
Thank you.
Are we still under this new 501c, whatever it's called, C4?
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. If it's under this one, are we still capped at that maximum amount of making profit, 30,000 or 30% of, we can make as much now? So if we have a concert out here, all of a sudden we start throwing concerts on the greens and we start bringing in $100,000 per concert, are we allowed to take that in? Does it have to still be that 30% max cap of our assessment value?
George, that would still be non-exempt income, correct? Yeah, yeah. It'd still be non-exempt, but again, after tax, a hot dog would still be contributing to the bottom line. But we could go over it, but I believe we could go over the 30%, but it would still be taxable. I don't recall if the limits there, and in the day we get more than 30% public participation either day.
But we could make more money, collectively. We could start putting on bigger functions that would help the community, like, house people's rental properties with people. We could start doing events or things, and we could offset possibly the cost it costs us to live up here, maybe our future assessments by those type of events. With this now 501(c).
Yeah, correct. And that would all be a bonus. I mean, the main thing would be the investment income would drop straight to the bottom line. And then golf, again, on space available, if we have public participating, I believe I don't know if it is the 30%, George, but I don't think we've ever come close to that yet. Well, that'd be a first-class problem. But I know it would still be non-exempt income, but it fluctuates.
But if Warren wanted to come host an event up here, big rock concert, we could possibly facilitate that in the future now. We're under this.
We could announce that, yeah, there's concert on the greens, bring your family, and really come. It's kind of one of the avenues that would allow this to happen is we want you to know what Pine Mountain Club is about. We'll mention people who stay here often buy here. So it's a way of sharing, I guess, some of the amenities at the same time. Under 501c7, we were basically prohibited from advertising. We could not, post something in the Mountain Enterprise saying, Daffodil Day, come up, join the festival. Yeah, it will definitely make it easier going forward. I'll see more revenue generation.
Any further comments from directors?
Just real quickly, when I
Martha,
helped
sorry.
to put on the Fire Council golf tournament, I personally, because I'm a board member, could not go to the Enterprise and promote it. So this would kind of open us up for things like that. So if we wanted to do a charity golf tournament, we now can go there and promote it outside our area. So,
Mark?
Oh,
Thank you. Don, that was quick, Sean.
I tried to.
Okay, first of all, with Bear Valley Springs, thank you, Josh. If we're comparing apples to apples, they have two layers. They have the Bear Valley Springs Association, HOA, and the Bear Valley Community Service District. And so it's not a good comparison. And I've spent many moons working under a 501c4 because that's what the commercial center has. And basically, it opens it up to the general public, and I'm worried what it will do as far as we already have too many people using the swimming pool right now. If they're all coming using the swimming pool and this and that, and while the members are paying the assessments and the private parties are not. So that's, and also, the IRS agent that contacted me last year, and I passed it on to you. He said to his understanding, it appears that the PMCPA would not qualify for exemption of 501c4 because membership is based upon home ownership and the facility that owns and maintains members are not for use for the general public. So what I would prefer is rather than, if we're going to spend this 9.5K, rather than box ourselves into is 501c4 a good fit, I think we should be all encompassing and adding the 528 as well, and let them come up to the best conclusion. I mean, if we're going to spend money on legal, I'm very concerned about that we'll qualify for a 501c4 from what I've seen across the street.
Let me respond quickly. Gary Porter, who's the partner who we had a conference with on this, by the way, pointed out the pool is limited to members because of the health and safety code. Yeah. In other words, that would be exempt. You're not going to have the public just lining up to use the pool. That would have been a deal breaker. Bear Valley Springs, the POA, is a 501c4. Their community service district is totally a horse of a different color. And that is a municipality really under California law. So it isn't a 501 at all. So again, I'm comfortable that there's enough, especially with the track record of this firm. One of the things that came out is we look at all the public access we have here. We have yoga teachers who don't even live on the mountain giving classes. We have concerts on the greens. Golf can be, there's a lot of access already. Someone can drive on our roads, the Enchanted Forest or the waterfall, and park and hike. They're not, so what we were, the key word is community, and what came up in this discussion is the IRS doesn't like it, but the tax law supports it. IRS and this gentleman has, and his firm have done successfully focusing on the community. And what I see is we're part of a mountain community up here, which stretches all the way to Lebec, Taft, and areas like that. And that's a well-known term in dealing with Kern County, the mountain communities. And so to the extent that can be managed and maybe add 50,000 a year to our bottom line, I think it's worth looking at. Is it guaranteed? No. I don't think we wouldn't need any firm's help to file a 528. That's simple. You file the 990, that's an 1120A, not a 990, but save you correcting me there, Mark. You just basically file your tax return and state that you're filing under Internal Revenue Code 528. That's it, slam dunk. So really, the effort on the legal side, and this, again, he has a track record of going against the IRS, but arguing the tax code, which focuses on community. And we have always functioned much broader than just the member base here. So again, I just, in my opinion, it's a worthwhile investment because the cost is nowhere near comparable to the potential savings. And again, this firm in Simi Valley has established a very good record of success in doing it. But the pool's safe, don't worry.
I've never been in it. I know, don't do community pools.
Any further comments from directors? Okay. Oh, all right. All those in. Oh, I'm so sorry. Member comments. Thank you for the reminder. Okay. All those in favor? And Mark, is that a no?
Yeah, I'm just.
Resolution carries.
Director Gates, again.
Okay. Thank you. I'll get it. Oh, sorry. I, Director Randall Gates, move the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution 02/02/2126, approve replacement of PMC POA payroll system as submitted.
Second.
Thank you, Sean.
Just a brief introduction, and James deferred to me. However, this came from he and George. This originated, I believe, from a lot of the zero-based analysis of what was going on. So I'm merely the messenger. They've done the hard work. But as James mentioned, current vendor is Paycheck, $31,000 a year for basic, not standard service. A lot of manual entry, not include performance management, onboarding, or benefits administration. ADP offers a more robust platform and eliminates current tasks requiring manual entries, labor expense associated in areas, again, such as onboarding, benefits, performance, and goal management, essentially a one-stop shop. ADP's annual cost is basically 27,000 plus a setup fee. Take it to 37. ADP agreed to waive the 97,000. I would never have to be on the other end of negotiating with James. Very tenacious in that regard. And they're applying a promotion of 12 months free in the first 3 years, further reducing the annual cost to 19,000, 20,000. Total savings in the first 3 years is 36,000. In year 4, subsequent years, annual savings would be 4,000. And what's not down here is that both James and George worked hard to vet this and approve this as an improvement to what we're doing.
Any additional comments from directors?
So, and I think that it's very important that the community understands that this new payroll service, not only is it saving us tens of thousands of dollars, and then $4,000 a year after that, but it also has multiple benefits that we're not getting right now. This is like a whole encumbered system that has been laxing in our payroll system. So, and again, George and James have been very due diligent in finding cost-cutting measures and finding the best services that they can find for this community. So that's just kind of what I want to tell everybody. You know, this is not something that we just think about and we want to just do. These men really go out, and our staff really goes out there and finds the best for us. So that's it.
Mark.
Just real quick, I appreciate the work that Randall, James, and George put into this. This doesn't come under that we got to get 3 bids thing, does it? Does this come under the we're supposed to get 3 bids? I mean, I'm going to vote for it anyway because it's an improvement, but I just want to be clarified in my head.
My understanding is there weren't a lot of other viable options. I mean, this is pretty much those two run the market.
Yeah, I mean, Paychex and ADP are leading vendors in the industry. We really didn't have a better option. Even Paychex was wanting to re-quote it, but we're not quoting it with all the additional services. It would have just run us higher. I didn't really see any other option that was going to come.
Thank you.
Any further comment from direct members? Okay, all those in favor? All right. What was that, Doug? Okay, thank you. Resolution carries.
Right. Well, I'll do one more medicine.
Yes, please.
I, Director Randall Gates, move the adoption of the following resolution, resolution number 40221, 2026, to amend Association Rule Article 19, Common Rules of all committees, as posted on January 8, 26. It's been up for examination by the members for quite some time.
Second.
Discussion? Okay. Doug is not present, but all those, okay. Just want to make sure that you don't need to comment. Okay. All those in
Members?
Sorry, members.
such a big member section earlier. It just feels like
Yeah.
it's completed, but thank you for the constant reminder. I've needed it. Members? Okay, all those in favor? All right, resolution carries.
Last one. Randall?
Right. That was it.
Run to motion. Is it?
Oh.
I'm sorry, that's all you get.
Okay.
Information.
I'm just kidding. That's the last resolution, correct?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know why that's there then.
We're at the environmental recap.
I don't know. Okay. All right. Oh, now I have to read lots of numbers. Okay. Motion to designate Best Alliance Foreclosure and Lien Services Corporation as agent for association and hereby authorizes agent to prepare, sign, and record a notice of delinquent assessment lien and all other necessary and associated documents on association's behalf on the following APN numbers: 316-531-06001, 328-231-08007, 316-531-39007, 316-503-06006, 316-512-13002, 316-502-05006, 316-512-14005, 328-142-15008, 316-511-09004, 328-151-07001, 328-142-14005, 328-172-02009, 328-043-02008, 328-102-06000, 328-043-04004, 328-144-06006, 328-092-08004, 328-144-08002, 328-091-0400, 328-222-11009, 328-242-18006, 328-261-09009, 328-291-06009, 328-261-09009, 316-511-06005, 256-444-11003, 256-442-02003, 256-444-12006, 316-193-11007, 316-111-18004, 316-203-07002, 316-243-03002, 316-392-07001, 316-471-01009, 316-501-04006, 316-471-02002, 316-435-07003, 316-531-38004, 328-071-01000, 328-043-06000, 328-074-06006, 328-076-09009, 328-15-10006, 328-031-05000, 328-065-01005, 328-200-13005, 328-192-10008, 328-222-08001, 328-232-18003, 328-282-06003.
Thank you for that, Madison. We all appreciate it.
One correction.
Second.
Go ahead.
One
Do we
correction.
have a second first?
I think you should do the correction before the second, right? It was just a missed number, just one. 328-152-10-00-6. You missed the 2. That's
Okay.
the only one.
Thank you, Sean.
Second,
Okay.
just have one comment. All these numbers represent lots of property owned by individuals or families. And to the extent someone has trouble paying and ends up getting a lien, they should, the sooner they get ahead of it, there's not much we can do, but it's heartbreaking, to be honest. But once it goes to collections, the costs go up. If they go into collections and present a payment plan, they can get ahead of this. Or they can even, as we've discussed, make monthly payments so that they don't have such a big number to crunch at the end of the year. I always find this distressing to see all these. Every one of them was a purchase one day and, you know, a bit of a dream. So and thank you, Madison. That's a lot of reading.
I lost my place halfway through when you were doing it, so I don't know how you do it. But my question for the board, or I guess it would be for George and maybe James, Best Alliance foreclosure. I know that there was a discussion earlier about looking into another company. Is that something that is being worked on at all? So we're happy with Best Alliance completely, thoroughly? Okay, that's it.
Randall?
No, I just,
Okay, any further discussion from directors? All right, all those in favor? Okay, motion carries. The next item we have will need to be adjusted because the board is lacking sufficient information to decide today's.
I motion to defer the discussion of the Hall's ambulance contract for employees till the next meeting.
Second that.
And though I am aware that it may result in a lapse of coverage temporarily, it is more advisable that we have complete information before moving forward. Any comments from directors? All those in favor of postponing? Thank you. The motion to defer carries.
Okay. Just to clarify for everybody, if I ever seem like I'm behind or confused, it's because I have to read the agenda and take minutes at the same time. So yeah, it's a little tricky sometimes.
Please take your time.
Thank you.
We will be patient and we will wait.
Okay, I am very aware of what's going on. It's hard to multitask.
Appreciate you, Madison.
Thank you. Information and correspondence. We received the environmental control recap for the month of January 2026 and the patrol recap for the month of January 2026. The board received 7 items of correspondence. Now we're in the director's forum. I'm up first for Bear Committee. We meet on the first Monday of the month at 5 p.m. On January 27th, we had a conference call with 3 different levels of management from Department of Fish and Wildlife. James, our general manager, was there. We had a patrol there as well, and a few of our Bear Committee members. Finn Migan was also there to discuss his bear plan. And we had a good discussion about how Fish and Wildlife utilizes the WIR reports, the wildlife incident reports. And I think the general takeaway was the more wildlife incident reports that Fish and Wildlife receives, there's the potential that they can get more funding as a result, which means they can provide our community with more education about living harmoniously with black bears, which I think we all support. So the other big update is that we're having a town hall. There are flyers in the lobby. But our town hall is going to be on Saturday, March 7th at 10 a.m. And we've asked our local biologist to help us better understand how to utilize the wildlife incident reports and to walk us through how to fill them out. So if you have any questions about that, you should show up and learn how to do it. And there's going to be tons of other information and resources, and it should be a good time. So please come. Okay. Director Randall Gates for Budget and Finance.
Oh, you're right, it is number 2. Thank you. Met on February 18th at 5 p.m. and basically walked through I know this sounds routine, but January's financial results were able to be reviewed in February. So a lot of the massive effort recovering from sync, all that is behind us. We're getting on track to where we actually have the bandwidth to do a lot of other things that had to be deferred while we were catching up. So basically, discussion of the financials, the committee recommended that they voted to approve that they be submitted to the board for approval. January financials. And other than that, we're waiting until next month.
Thank you. That should not say Director Bennett. Okay. For communications, I'm sharing an update from, what should I say?
You're still board liaison.
Okay, just board liaison Linsky.
Interim. Yeah, interim.
Yes,
board
she's not
liaison.
here, so I offer the update for her. And as Nicole mentioned earlier, the new website should be up and running March 1st. It's very exciting. There's lots of consideration going into how beautiful and effective that website's going to be. We've also hired a website specialist and content creator that's going to work with communications committee. Some of the discussions in the committee have included business policy and improving member engagement, the upcoming election, and generating a Your Vote Matters campaign and how they're going to execute that. Okay, Directors Coulter and Armin for emergency preparedness.
Well, good afternoon again. It's too bad that so many members walked away after they got their little say on the equestrian, because I would like them to hear this report especially. This is something that's near and dear to my heart now, and it's all because of the members of these committees. It's unbelievable the work that these men and women do for us. Between Mark and Andrew, Jennifer, Ted, and I'm going to really highlight today James. I call him Radar because this guy is the man. I'm telling you, what he has done for our community is beyond compare. But let's first start with CERT. Emergency preparedness really helps CERT out. Emergency preparedness, we really try and make sure that CERT has what they need, especially today because of the way financials are and because of the fire department's lack of getting money to run their organization effectively because of cutbacks on the governmental side. CERT really tries to rely on EP for a lot of the help, and they really do come prepared as best as they can. As people know, CERT was very active and were extremely ready for this storm watch. They were on high alert for us. These are neighbors. These are our friends and neighbors that are doing this, and they really need our support. During the fire, we had a house fire, and we lost a life in this house fire on Glacier. But PMC Red Cross and Fraser Park Red Cross were there to respond. So, this is important to us. We really need people to become aware of the dangers that we face, and these men and women really need to need our support as much as they can do. Now, to highlight James DeGrasse, he keeps on, he wants to thank us. He wants to thank the POA. He doesn't even take on, he works and works and works and puts time in. It's unbelievable. Mark, he puts in so many hours a week just to keep us safe. It's unreal. But we are continuing to sell radios here right at the clubhouse. I just bought an extra battery, $15 for a battery. That may save my life. These are things that are very important. You got to go and do this for yourselves, if not for us, but for yourself. We now have over 320 members, which is more than any other mountain community that have the RSN radios. That's huge. Now, James is working with people outside of our area that are ham radio operators in Lebec, and they're coming up with a plan to keep them alert and to keep communications coming from Pine Mountain Club out to Lebec, from Lebec out to Bakersfield through ham radios. This is stuff that's really happening today, right now. And I really have to applaud these men and women for all of their efforts. And I really would like to see more support from the community. I know it's hard to give time, but, even just coming by and saying thank you or saying hello would really give them a big boost. That's what I have right now for EP.
Director Schoening for Environmental Control. Yes. Surprise.
We had a house addition and solar. Very interesting.
Woohoo. General Manager Williams for Family Resource Ad Hoc Committee.
Okay, Family Resource. The Family Resource Committee has not gone hot yet. 2 members, but we have a 3rd member that applied. So the upcoming meeting should be the very first meeting. We'll probably discuss charters. It'll be my first time being involved with the committee as they stand up, but I'm excited. Before and after storm. I think the Family Resource Committee is going to be a huge asset. I'm not sure what priority direction they would go in yet, but I'm excited to be able to report on progress as we go.
Thank you. Director Randall Gates for Governing Documents.
Yeah, the committee met on February 7th. Basically, the amendment to the article of the Rules for All Committee was one of the products coming out of there. Association Rules, Article 19. Discussing basically Zoom meetings, protocol, and things like that. Investment policy. I brought up bylaw 10.09, the fiscal responsibility one, which is deals with the bistro and lounge and has implications for basically everything we do. So that's been discussed. At this point, we don't have any conclusions, but it's trying to at least bring everybody up to the again, governing docs is to understand if there's conflicts or not, or with any resolution and our governing documents. And I always think it's better to formulate your own conclusion before we get a legal conclusion. So you've done your work, and either you're right or you learn something. So I don't like doing the legal opinion first until people do their best to weigh in, which has been done. And they're working on access to records. That's coming. And that's it.
Thank you. Director Bailey for Greens and Grounds.
Thank you. They was dark again, and since it seems like we've got 2 weeks of nice weather, and we next will likely meet on March the 6th, I imagine we'll be back in session then.
Thank you. Director Coulter and Arman for Kern Fire Safe Council.
That would be me. So, right off the bat, I have quite a bit going on here with the fire mitigations and things of that nature. Everybody now, I would think, it's been announced, we have received $871,000 for phase 1 for Pine Mountain Club for fire mitigation. This is just phase 1. Thanks to James and to George and Ted and the Fire Safe Council, as well as emergency preparedness, to really get this stuff. These are hot topics. We've had, in the 2 years that I've been, in the last 2 years, we've had, 4 homes burned to the ground? We're just a tinderbox waiting to happen. So we as a board and as committees are becoming very proactive, making sure that this committee does not become another paradise. So what I would like to see is now the homeowners take responsibility for themselves and for their homes. There are certain things that you have to do, in clearing. This is not just clearing once a year and then you think you're done and safe because the fire department comes around once a year and gives you fines if it's not ready. This is a year-round thing to protect your homes. You have certain areas, zones that you should be clearing. The first 5 feet, you should have it really rocked out. Not a lot of plants around, from the 5 feet to 50 feet, sporadic. Cutting back on your foliage, make it bonsaiing it up so that there's nothing on the ground. That really helps you out as homeowners. If you go around and look at some homes, you will see that they really take their sages, all the natural plants that we have there, and they round them up, and they make sure that there's little pathways. They break it up a little bit. That's what we need to do for ourselves. So, and if you need or want more information on how to do this, you need help doing this, reach out to the Kern Fire Safe Council. They're ready to help. People like George that go and they spend their time, they'll come and do assessments for your house, and they'll show you what you need to do to protect yourselves. It doesn't cost you any money. They don't give it to everybody to give you fine. It's nothing like that. They'll give you a report, and I have my report right here with me. They give me my report. They say, "Hey, Sean, these are the things you have to work on your house." I've done 90% of it. I don't have it all done, but I've got 90% of it done. And if it wasn't for someone like George to come up and tell me, "Hey, these are the things you need to do," I would not have known half of those things. And I lived in fire areas. I've lived out in a Agoura all my life. So it was very informative information that you really should get, and you need to reach out and become more fire wise. And there's a community already in Kern County that has 11 fire wise communities. We don't have any yet. That's crazy. I've been promoting this thing for a year and a half, at least a year. Every time I come to this board meeting, every time I come in and I file my report, I tell everybody, get in there, get fire wise, reach out to Fire Safe Council. They'll help you. Now, this is a wake-up call, guys. We definitely have a wake-up call. When another house is gone just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it's winter time, but this is a wake-up call. Please protect your homes and start, helping to protect the whole community. and become more fire wise. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Director Nicole Gates for planning.
So the planning committee is continuing to move through the action items of the strategic plan. Last month's board recap email provided a link to that. It is currently on the .org website and details specific action items that resulted from member survey data in order to address an incredibly large span of topics, everything from member education to member participation, in addition to monitoring things like puddling and, drainage issues. So it really is quite expansive. And the committee is both updating progress made on some of those action items, and fortunately, what's kind of incredible about the process is much of the progress made has happened without the committee's need to target, communicate, etc. It was almost done just by management through organizational methods. Also, thanks to previous board chair Bennett having been on the planning committee and as chair during the survey, but as board liaison while this was all being pieced together, she was already aware of many of these aims and worked towards them without planning having to do any heavy lifting. So they're continuing to move through the action items, updating them as they go, and identifying next steps so that these goals are reached.
Director Wild for Mill Potrero Water Company. Do you have a poem?
Zen koan.
Okay, moving on. Okay, maybe next time. General Manager Williams for Pine Mountain Club Commercial Property Owners Association.
Roses are red.
Yes, more of that.
Okay, Commercial Property Owners Association met on February 10th. The key updates, they discussed the upcoming events, the Lilac Festival, Wine in the Pines, and also Oktoberfest, which, the POA definitely wants to be involved. Also on 8/15, the car show, discussed as being a huge event. Their POA or CPOA website is up. They had the option to have it built by the Merchant Village folks that are running that site. They're emailing merchants and advertising with ongoing follow-ups to make sure they're getting the vendors committed as quick as they can. They also discussed improvements in the village. They're discussing a maintenance contract for repairs and landscaping. They are discussing road repairs in the areas. Other items like bear-proof trash cans, directional signs. They're going to put directional signs in the village. They're going to be cool where, go to the perch this way, go to the clubhouse this way. And so it's, they're constantly trying to improve the village. So it was a good discussion, a good group there. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I have to say, after the snow, I was driving through the village to get a burrito, and the lights were so cute. At night with the snow, I felt like we were living in a Hallmark movie.
I love them.
Goodness, it looks so good.
They are beautiful.
Okay. Members Rebuttal Forum. The Members Rebuttal Forum is a 10-minute period that follows the Director's Forum, offering members the opportunity to briefly respond to any matter raised by a director. Each speaker will be given up to 1 minute to share their thoughts. Members wishing to speak are kindly asked to step up to the microphone, address the board chair, and state their name, tract, and lot number for the record. While the board might not respond immediately, all comments will be respectfully noted.
Ron Freeman, lot number 3405030. Something happened today that bothers me and concerns me as a member of this community. And I would very much like the board to address it. And that is the conduct of people that were sitting in this audience. Whether you agree or disagree with anybody's opinion, no one has the right, be it coming from that direction or this direction, to verbally abuse people like was done today. And I would like someone to review the video of this meeting and try and identify the person that did that. I can tell you from where I was sitting, it came from behind me and to the left, at least 2 rows behind me. And I'd like that person to be censured and not allowed to come to meetings anymore. Also, I'd like to say that I truly appreciate all the time and effort that you all put in on our behalf.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Let's end on that note.
Ron, I will.
Good note.
We'll have to look into the protocol we would follow to do something like that, but I will definitely look into it. Yeah. Thank you. Any further member comments? Okay.
All right. Hold on. Okay, adjournment. In the January 21st, 2026 executive session at 8:30 a.m., the following was discussed. 2 potential litigation items. No contracts were discussed. 1 forbearance was discussed and approved. A long list of liens were discussed and approved. There were no hearings, no appeals, no personnel issues, and there was director information correspondence discussed. In the January 21st, 2026 special executive session at 1 p.m., the following was discussed. 1 director information and correspondence issue. No contracts were discussed, no forbearance agreements, no lien requests, no hearings, appeals, or personnel issues. The next regular open board meeting will take place on March 21st, 2026 at 10 a.m. in the Condor Room. See you then. Oh, wait, I have to motion.
To adjourn?
Sorry, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Hi.
I put